Good afternoon, Nkosi Talk Shows family. Is Nomsa here at Nkosi Talk Shows. Find your own voice lead from within. So with me today, I'm with Amanda Murray and Grant Morrell. How are you guys?
Very good. Very good. Yeah. As we say in laughter yoga.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. The topic today is the path to least resistance. Have you ever noticed how in life we often find ourselves struggling, fighting, pushing against walls that refuses to move? Yet sometimes the greatest breakthrough don't come from resistance, but from learning how to flow. So this is what we call the path of least resistance. It's not about being lazy, passive, or giving up. It's about aligning with truth, love, purpose so deeply that love begins to open doors instead of closing them. So, Grant, you chose this topic. Would you like to explain to our audience what was the motivation behind choosing the topic, please?
Yes, thank you, Nomsa. My motivation behind choosing the topic was Nomsa saying, Grant, do we have a topic? And and yes, and we do have a topic. Yeah, and this is what we do. We always discuss amongst ourselves what would be the topic for next week's show, what are we planning to do, what the audience need. And it was something quite a lot of my ideas come off the back of what I'm doing with clients and what's topical with them, what's going on, the time of year, where they are, different countries, different cultures, what's happening, and how that affects their mood and their planning. So this one came about from that. It was someone I was talking about and I was coaching, and she was going to make this whole business idea based on something. And I felt she was doing it on the wrong principles. Not the wrong principles, but the wrong principles for her, and I wanted to help her find out what she really wanted. What do I mean? Most of our life is driven by fear. We are doing things in a reaction to fear, which is, of course, many analogies of what fear actually means. Many abbreviations could be false evidence appearing real. Okay, fear, but it's we do things for a lot of approval from other people, society, any other organization, family, background, culture tells us what we ought to be doing rather than us deciding what we should be doing as individuals. I'm not here to stir a pot on this, but I'm just saying it's human psychology. And when I look at it, most people aren't actually living their life, they're living their life for somebody else to see, which is very sad. So when I helped this lady uncover what was really the driver behind her life, why she wanted to start this kind of business as opposed to that kind of business, what was behind it. I dug down and I found out what she really wanted was love and approval from her mother. So I've asked her to go and speak to her mother to share her thoughts and feelings because I know what happens when people do this. Your life gets transformed. And then I've asked her to come back and talk to me about the business that she really wants to start, which I'm sure will be different as a result because she'll be living to her path and nobody else's. And when you do what you really want to do, the things that you really find easy, for example, there's people listening now who are great with numbers and figures, who love doing accountancy and auditing and things like this and finance, where other people that would probably give them a nervous breakdown. Other people would love to do creative stuff, organizing charts, flowing, running teams, and that would give other people an absolute meltdown. They couldn't even get out of bed in the morning to do it. None of them are right, none of them are wrong. In fact, they're all right. It's just a question of finding the right person to do that. So if you know what's right for you, then you have found the path of least resistance, and your chance of happiness, fulfillment, love, and success is dramatically improved. That was the reason behind today's topic. Nomsa, path of least resistance. Do you have one? Do your kids have one? What do you notice?
I just love the topic, and I also like what you said. You said most of our lives is most of our lives, whatever we do is driven by fear. wanting approval from people, which is that's really, really 1000% true. People just live their lives based on what the society tells them to do. The church, you go to church, they tell you how you behave. This is how you live. I'm very lucky my church don't do that. In my church, they tell you get on with it, get on with life. Don't be lazy. You don't need approval from people. Do whatever it takes for you to succeed. So Dr. Olukoya teaches all that. He does not mess about. And also you said like about your clients that she's actually wanting approval from her mom. I think most people do that instead of living a life how they want, how their life should be, designing their own life, but they live a life based on fearing. Even when they post on Facebook, they post based on getting likes. They watch what they say. They don't go fully. They'll go and look at, let's say I want to post something, I'll go and see what Amanda's language is. Then I'll just tweak Amanda's language and make it my own, and just because I'm fearing, I just don't want to show up as me. So that's what most people do. I've noticed most of the time, me when I'm posting, there's always someone who message me private and say, Nomsa, don't post that on Facebook.
Really?
Yeah, honestly, last week I had my friend, she's like, saw my post and she was like, can we meet up? Here's me thinking we're meeting up for coffee. She was meeting up to tell me what I can post on Facebook, what I can't. I said to her, I have to do what I got to do. I'm not on Facebook to make friends with anyone. I'm just there to make friends with those who speak their own truth, who are there to add value to the audience, not to tell the audience what they want to hear. I said to I said to them, if I go and buy a beautiful dress and lose weight, do my hair, I'll get maybe 2,000 views because you guys you like making yourself miserable.
Yeah. True.
Honestly.
It's true. Some people do. You're right, Nonsense. Some people do just often being miserable. They complain. You know, it's like
They
some
like
people
to
need to
see
think,
other
stop,
people
listen.
succeeding. They
Yeah,
like
just
the crap. If you post rubbish, people loves it. But if you post something that add value, the struggle, how you can do this, people they like the post, but mostly post grant, go and do a photo shoot. Let's go and go to talk shows and do a photo shoot. And she's saying, look at me, how beautiful I am in the cars, and go and hire a nice Lamborghini and say it's mine. Make people miserable. They like it. So, Grant, this topic is actually, I love it. It's actually everything you said is 100% true.
thank you. Good. Well, let's see where we go. And I want to know what Nomsa thinks in this moment that we was talking about before the show, because we always talk before we go live. What's going on? Hey, what have you been up to? You know, it's just things that are going on, what we was discussing. What do you think? And what do you think, really?
Amanda.
Yeah, Mandy, what do you think about the path of least resistance? What does that mean to you?
Well, initially, I thought that we because I'm a teacher and I teach in Alberta in Canada, and I told you guys before the show that we're going on strike as of Monday. And it's not the path of least resistance at all. It's the path of like, oh man, it's gonna be tough. It's not gonna be easy. But I think it's necessary because for the last 10 years, we've taken the path of least resistance and we keep getting less and less funding. We haven't had a raise in 10 years. Essentially, like we've had a 6% raise in 10 years, whereas inflation's at 30%. And the funding hasn't changed. And so we are currently the least funded public school board in all of Canada, and per student. And parents like on right now, it's like people are bashing teachers are mad at the government. And I'm like, okay, we're like, where's the middle ground, and what's the reality of what's going on? Because we're not taking the path of least resistance. And I was really hoping that when we voted it down in June, that when we came back in September, that some sort of middle ground would come about, and no middle ground came about. The only thing they added on to the deal was that teachers can get a free COVID shot. And that like kind of enraged me, because I was like, I never got that to begin with.
Love
So why would I care if I got a free one now? And so essentially, but I like what you were saying, Grant, about talking with your client and like looking at like what's the path of least resistance for the business that she wants to start. And when we were talking at the start too, you're like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna like go on the picket line and like and protest, or are you going to like sit at home and watch Netflix? And I'm like, I'm not gonna do either. I'm going
it.
to essentially like use it as an opportunity to try to grow my business and to send value towards people that I think like value me, and also just so I can send like more value out to the world. So I actually had a friend reach out to me a couple of weeks ago and be like, why don't you put any of your stuff on Pinterest and on Etsy and like sell it? And I used to have an Etsy shop a while ago, and then I kind of like doing anything with it, and it frustrated me because I'd have to like go to the post office and like ship the stuff. But I think I might actually restart up my Etsy shop and just do everything as digital downloads, so that I don't have to like do the annoying part of it where I like print everything off and like send it, because I was selling my art prints on Etsy. But now I think I've seen a whole bunch of stuff on Etsy that's like teachers pay teachers. So I was like, maybe I'll just restart up my Etsy shop and focus on selling some of the things that I do for kids anyways, and maybe start some tutoring, or like really use it as an opportunity to focus on like how could I start my own school. So I'm going to try to look at this like really stressful time as an opportunity to like really sit down and get grounded on what it is that I want to bring into my life,
Good idea.
rather than, even though I am like, I spent 2 days basically like crying the last 2 days, and I'm like, okay, I need to reset. Last night I like wrote down like 9 ideas of things that I can do to like focus on the positives and
Fantastic.
focus on things that could bring in money if we're not working for a month or 2 months. And also just like things that could be an alternate source of income for years down the road. Because even like my books, even though I don't sell a whole bunch, like I still sell at least one book a day on Amazon, and that brings in like an extra $100 a month, right? So when I have multiple sources, and they say like, if you really want to be successful in life, you should have multiple sources of income that are coming in even when you're not working at it. And like right now, my books, I don't do anything with them, and except maybe post here and there on social media. And that's a like alternative source of income that comes in automatically without me
Right.
having to like work at it, right? And so learning how to do more of that so that I can set myself up that there's just money coming in, whether I'm like physically working or not, or just ways to bring in more, that, but also work that like ways to bring in more that adds value to the world. I think that part is important too, because like my books, like I just redid all of the illustrations for my very first book, this one. It's Okay to Feel. And like, I feel like this really does bring value to the world because it helps kids like manage emotions. And I just redid all the pictures for it like over the summer, and I just published it. I haven't even posted about this one yet, but that's one of the things, like just focus on those things that I can control, and try to let go, even though right now I'm clearly not in a space where it's the path of least resistance, and it's but not by choice, right? So even though sometimes I think the path of least resistance is a really good thing, sometimes I think there's also times where you need to stand up and be like, no, no more. Our public school system is failing miserably, and it's been like duct taped together by teachers for the last 10 years. And we're crashed, we're mentally exhausted, we're physically exhausted, we're emotionally exhausted, we're financially exhausted. Something has to give, and it's not. And so like when I even look at my classroom, I'm like, all of the books in my classroom are purchased by me. 90% of the art supplies, like little things here and there, are supplied by me. If I want anything extra in my classroom, I have to like write a proposal to parent council because there's no money coming from the government. It's coming from funding that the parents do. And those are the things that the public's not seeing. And so I think that's something where it's like, okay, now we need to like take a stand because we've taken the path of least resistance for so long that now it's time to be like, no, we can't do this anymore because we're like emotionally exhausting ourselves. Like we're exhausting ourselves in all areas. and that just can't continue to happen.
That's quite a lot that's going on there. It must be a big, widespread thing all over. So, I mean, like you say, it's a huge thing. Must be on the news and big time. I can only imagine how big that is on the
Yeah,
news.
it's 50,000 teachers and 700,000 students that'll be affected.
Wow. What was those numbers again? I'm just trying to look at those up.
50,000 teachers will go on strike, and 700,000 students will be affected by this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is huge. That is huge. And again, you know, you hit the nail on the head when you said earlier about using this time as the path of least resistance to find out what is yours. You know, the things you're doing, can you help to change, you know, the system? Can you campaign? Can there be things edit? Can there be different approaches, different ethos to it? Can there be something else you can do? You're doing your books, which I've seen, which are amazing about helping, you know, kids and stuff. It's really, really quite fantastic. So, you know, if no one's ever seen those, for goodness sake, check them out because, and especially what's going on now, it's probably a great time to highlight exactly what's going on and how they can help children. Because, you know, it's been said 1,000 times that the children are the future, and it's obvious. Yes, of course they are. You know, the more we invest into them now, the better. Some cultures, of course, will invest into their children who'll live a frugal life. Sorry, adults to say it, but some of them live a frugal life so that they can give their kids the best education because that's their pension plan. As the kids get older, job, career, or business, they look after mum and dad. So and that's their pension pot. Because some countries, you know, there ain't no pension, no state pension. So it's that's the children. They invest into them. It all goes into them. It's not wrong. It's not wrong. It's not right. They build a big house, you know, with the parents' part on the side, and you know what I'm saying. And it works that way. So kids are the future. The more you can invest in them, the better. And it crosses over into crime and everything. You know, as we get older, crime on the streets is going to be partly steered by you know, the ethos and the ethics of the kids out there. So if they're not educated right, it's going to be chaos. So we have a protective right, if you will, to try and look after the young kids so that they end up good when we're old. You know, they're looking after us just in terms of being good neighbours and good friends and good people in society. So there's all of that. So maybe that's your path of least resistance. Maybe you're a campaigner for that. I don't know. But it's just for food for thought on all of this. So looking at this, so people we know, what can we talk about? What could be like ideas of the path of least resistance for people? How do you know that you're not working in the path of least resistance? How do you know that, you know, this is what I want to pose to everybody. How do you know that you're really not in flow? Yeah, you're going against the grain, you're like, oh, this really isn't me. How do you know? What do you feel? What are the warning signs? What do you think about that, Nomsa? What do you think? How would someone know when they're not working in flow?
I think when you're not working in flow, you will know because if you don't have a clarity of what you're doing, of where you need to be, our inner mean self does tell us that no, this is not who I'm supposed to be, even though we fight, really, really fight to actually do the things that we're not supposed to be doing. So you will know, like myself, if I'm doing something, like I get people on LinkedIn or on Facebook saying, Nomsa, listen, I have this business. Would you like to link up with me? If that thing is not for me, I know straight away that this is not me, so I am gonna do it. So I think when you truly, truly know what you want, like Amanda, she's taken her time. She knew what she wasn't sure what path that she needs to take, but she knew if she forces herself, it wouldn't be right. So she took a step back. Now she's like, I think I know which path I need to take. So, which is good, which for me, I've been waiting for her to realize that she told me before. She was like, when she kept saying, I'm not sure, I was like, woman, you told me what you want to do, and a very talented teacher, get on with it. So, it's nice now that it is her who has made that choice that actually I need to focus on this. This is who I am. So she's gonna, like you said, Amanda, you spend 3 days, 2 days crying. What are you crying for? Don't cry, girl. Just
I
spend
think
the.
it's just over the stress of being a single mom and having like no income for the next couple weeks, months. We
I
don't know.
think that it will sort itself out. What you need to do now is get excited. Spend this time. There's no time for crying. Spend this time really, because sometimes the struggles are presented to us to take our lives to the next level. So now, what is this struggle that has been presented to you? Where is it taking you? So that's where, and Grant has agreed as well to jump on Zoom and brainstorm. Even myself, if you need me, I'm here as well to brainstorm, to actually get things done. If there's anything you need to doing, I'm just here for you. So you don't need to cry. I know finances, if you're not used to a struggle, it can be hard, but we have to walk that path somehow. So get excited. To answer Grant's question, um, Grant, you said if children are not educated right, we'll be in chaos. And even when you're doing something that is not right, is not your life becomes in chaos. So so that's really, really the good thing. Like people say, Nomsa, how are you able to study and being a mom and do all these things? Because I'm doing the things that I love to do. So when you do things that you love to do, you have a good support system around you that push you to become who you want to become. When you are with people that say you can't do this, you can't do that, and that can cause limitation. And this is where the part of least resistance come in, where just have to get on with life.
It does. It does. So when we look at all this, what kind of person are we when we listen to people? What kind of person are we? The kind of people who need to be free to express things? Do we need structure? Like in some jobs, you got some people just they can't necessarily think that well about outside of a structure. They need a very clear structure of what to do, and they will do it diligently. If you don't give them complete structure, they cannot fill the gaps. They just cannot. Some people hate structure. They need to be free to, within a confine of what to create. They need this. Some people are somewhere in between. Entrepreneurs are great with no structure. They make things happen. They work hard. They get off an adrenaline. They like the dopamine hit. They do it. Some people need calm and order. Some people need a long running time. Some people love a phone call at midnight and they jump onto it at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's different. People are different. But I want to ask some questions of the people listening. So, who are you? Do you need calm? Do you need structure? Do you need freedom, creativity, and excitement? They're quite different things. What kind of person are you? What do you need in your life or your career? What do you need? What do you think we could add to that, Amanda? What do you think?
I think sometimes you need a little bit of all of them, which is hilarious that you're like, which one are you? I'm like, sometimes they need calm, sometimes they need the excitement, sometimes they need something to be passionate about. I think when we are like on the path to least resistance, like I'm even thinking about like relationships, right? And I have a cousin who's going through a divorce right now, and I literally said to them, like, it might seem hard right now, but in the long run, this is going to be good in the end, right? Because otherwise, you're going to have like years and years and years of high conflict, emotional drainage, financial drainage. Like it's just not a good situation at all. Like I do believe that many relationships can be saved. I don't think this one can be. And so even though sometimes something might seem really hard at the beginning and like it's not the path of least resistance, sometimes later on it can be, right? And in order to get to that calm, you need to like walk through the fire, right? And to like get from one side to the other because it's going to be a little bit more difficult. And sometimes but when you get into your flow, you'll look back on those times in your life and be like, wow, I lived through that chaos and I came out on the other side a better person, a more grounded person, a stronger person, someone who other people look up to, someone who's like overcome so many different things, right? And when you look even at your own life, like where were the parts where you were like batting heads with yourself even of like what is it that I'm going to do and how do I get onto a better path? And I know even like you, Grant, you've had like a number of different careers that have led you to where you are today, and you're very successful in what you've done today and have like an honorary doctorate degree. And it's just like amazing the path that you've come, but I'm sure at different points in time it didn't feel like the path of least resistance
Mm,
or and until you found your flow. And
absolutely.
what was it that was like that spark that was like, okay, I know what to do. I'm gonna go on this path. And then like all of these things just like start spiraling towards you that are so positive and so amazing. And
Yeah.
you were talking before the show about like this crazy busy week of like all positivity, essentially of just like these amazing things that are happening in your business. And so it's like, what parts of your life where you like struggling that you then can now look at and like use to help your clients and the people that you work with find the path of least resistance because of what you lived through.
It's it's a strange thing, and I always envy. Thank you for that, Amanda. I always envy people who can find their flow very early in life. I never did. And some people, I remember there was this lovely old guy in his early 70s on a show years ago. He said that he had done this, he'd done that, he'd done all these great things in his life, and he was like 72 or something at the time. So, and he said, and he still hasn't got a clue what he wants to do with his life. He said, but I'm looking forward to what I'm actually really going to do with my life. He said he was 72. And that, so, you know, it's not wrong if you can't, because that was him. He didn't know what he wanted to do, but he'd done all these great things along the way and he'd enjoyed the process. And that's the important part. Some people, like a friend of mine, is a great architect. And he said that since the age of 4, he was drawing houses. He just knew he wanted to be an architect by about the age of 6. And it didn't come from his family. His family weren't architects, or his father was poor. His father was poor, and he said that's what made him great at business because he's like, no, I'll get the money and I've got it. You know, he was good at that. Some people are good at business because they've seen it all their life. They've grown up around it. But he did not. So because they didn't have it, that's why he wanted to go and get it. And architecture came from nowhere. You know, no one else in his family had. It was just his thing. And as he says now, he's a damn good architect. And he's in his late 70s. He said, "I'll have to retire one day." He just can't put the tools down. He loves it. You know. Um, in fact, that's how we met 20 odd years ago. We met at the Chamber of Commerce. That's where we met. But I know him now. He plays music of a night. I go to open mic session. He plays at that. And we was in a movie together. We turned up in a movie together a few years ago. We was asked to be in a movie by one of our Chamber of Commerce friends who had a little movie. And I used to do walk on parts years ago and stuff. And he asked if I would do it. And when I was there, this other guy was there. "Don't I know you? Aren't you the architect I used to know from the Chamber of Commerce?" So, and they've been reignited through music. So yeah. But you know, what is your path? You don't know. There's different things, and it's not always clear. And I've done other things, but they're all kind of related. There's elements in my various roles that I've done that relate to what I do now. And You know, for example, flying, you know, I love flying aeroplanes, and people say, what's that got to do with coaching? Well, it was a hobby. It was going to be a career, but it was a hobby. But there's an awful lot. I simulate a lot of things you learn from flying. From flying, you learn to fly an aeroplane. But the other thing I found was learned an awful lot about myself in the way I approached learning to fly an aeroplane. There's a lot of analogies for flying an aeroplane that I now map over into business, and I teach people that. This is, in fact, I wrote another magazine article a few weeks ago about that. My analogies of, you know, flying an aeroplane, doing this part of flying is just like that in business. So it's essential. You know, we want airline pilots to do it to keep us safe. Why do we not do the same thing with our business? Right. That was that. So I simulate that. Writing the article is not in my flow. Talking about it is in my flow. This for me here, sitting here, is effortless to me. Effortless. It really, really is. Writing it takes effort. That's not really, I'm quite unreasonably good at it, but it's not really what I love doing. So if I come to write a book or something, I'm not going to sit there with pen and paper. I will talk into a dictaphone and then have that edited. That's what I will do. That I will find much easier. In fact, there's even easier.
I would love to edit it for you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I love writing, so that.
And look what happened there. You said that, and I just leant back and went, oh, like, really? This is what I'm talking about. This is exactly point in case. You know, that's a nightmare for me. It's pleasure for you. And I'm like, how can that be pleasure? That's what life's about. It's about finding your team who you need in your life to do those things. So success is about having the right people around you. I don't mean doing everything for you. Someone was asking me about this annual general meeting I did the other day, and was there a lot there? Yeah, tons and tons and tons. But you'll never see that on the surface. It looks like you just turn up, sit down, babble on for a bit, give an award to someone, and walk out the door. That's what you see. I mean, it's the whole iceberg principle. It's like, you know, about 5% shine on top, 95% is under the scenes. People have no idea what goes into, literally no idea at all. None, nano, zero. But really, when you can achieve these things and get them done, if you use a team, which I do, it's much easier. They did the work. I still had to think, though, what they needed to do. That needs to be done. Can you let me know when that's been done? How's that been done? Where'd you do that? So you have to organise them, get them set up, and then put them out in silo and make sure that it all comes together. You're the orchestrator, the conductor of the orchestra, if you will, for the whole thing. There's a lot to do even then, but without a team, impossible, utterly impossible. So as I say, if you want to do it quicker, do it yourself. If you want to go further, get a team. So you might want to go at a reasonable pace and go a little bit further. So get a small team, go somewhere in the middle, you know, and get a team of specialists if you can. So this is what I'm talking about. So if I was writing things on a regular basis, I would definitely need an editor, a PA. I had someone stand in and do the minutes for me. Fortunately, I had another one standing by because the one who was going to do it went sick that day. That day went sick. I called someone else in, called in a big favour from someone. They come in and don't know the organisation, but they took the minutes and they would do a good set. So there you have it, right? It was very, very good. But you need to have things prepared. You need to know what's coming up, and that allows you to be in your flow. Because once you've got things prepared, let's use a flying analogy. Contrary to belief, when you're flying an aeroplane, what the pilot's thinking, they're not thinking, hey, think positive, be good. They're not. They're thinking negative. They're thinking, if the engine's foul, where can I land a plane? That's what you should be planning when you're thinking. You're planning for disaster, not for success. And that gives you comfort because you know if something goes wrong, I've got it handled. I've already thought of that. That's the way you do. So I come from the world of personal development. It's all thinking positive. When you get into an aeroplane, no, you must be confident. But the confidence comes from preparation. And preparation comes from planning for disaster. That's what you do. Yeah, often you'll do a takeoff check, a military takeoff check will probably say to the co-pilot, when we take off, if the engine fails at point B, they have a thing called PNR, point of no return. So at a certain speed and distance down the runway, you do not have time to stop. So even if there's a problem, you are committed to take off. Even if there's a problem, because you'll be an inevitable crash if you try to stop because you just run out of space. If that happens earlier, you can abort takeoff and you'd practice all this and you can slow down on the runway. At a certain point, that's not an option. You have to take off. And it depends what the problem may be. If there's a certain engine failure in a certain type of plane, they may not continue with the flight. What I mean is they will practice a controlled crash. Yes, there's a procedure for that. And they'll say, in the event of this kind of a, we will execute a controlled crash. I will do this, this, and this. You will do that, that, and that. So that in those split seconds, it's not like, oh, shall I do this? No, 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 no. There's no time for negotiating. You just action. It's already prepped. So you're taking off thinking of engine failure. 99.999% of the time, that never happens. But if it happens, they're poised and ready to do it. The decision's pre-made. That gives them confidence that we got this thing handled. We've got this, we know what we're going to do. And as we say in flying, any crash you can walk away from is a good crash. That's the saying. Yeah, that's the ones you want. Yeah, walk away and go, wow, take a photograph of that. That's the ones you want. Right? But yeah, and that comes from preparation. So you have to divide your mind. So when I'm doing my work, it's very confident, very positive. Da, 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 da. When you're flying, you have to think, disaster. What's going to happen? This could happen. Door comes open. Do I do a pan? Do I do a mayday? What do I do? Where do I do? Can I glide to the field? When you turn around, don't go further. If the engine failed, I can glide back and get on the runway. What other aircraft are in the traffic? What call sign do I have to use? You've got that all prepped. When you're flying from one zone to another, you have to change radio frequencies. So you put on the map about their change frequency and call in, let them know where you are. Are you on time? Have you calculated the time? Now, I learned to fly in Canada in summer. Now, why is the difference? Because you have to calculate about 3 or 4 different time zones just to give one time zone. What do I mean? Everything in the world is set to time zone of the UK, GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, Zulu hours. Yeah, all set at Greenwich, just down the road from where I am. That's where the world times are. Everybody has to be singing from the same hymn sheet. We have to use the same time. Otherwise, chaos and crashes everywhere. But we was in summertime. So we're not using GMT. We're GMT +1. Okay. But I'm flying in Canada. So I had to calculate at that time of year, what is that? Take off 1 hour back to Zulu, convert that to Canadian time. What is my local time? And what is my ETA? If I don't make that within 45 minutes, Air Sea Rescue will be dispatched, and that will be a $15,000 fine if it's a false alarm. So yeah, you do have to keep them updated of what's going on with the correct time. So you're doing these calculations while you're flying. Okay. And I was doing this probably on the way from Kingston to Lindsay, I think. If you know, that's probably where I was doing this. Calculate, and that's what you're doing at 5,000 feet doing that while navigating. No sat navs, not allowed to use them on the test because they can run out. You can't use calculators because batteries can fail, like the clock there's got a battery that failed, which is showing me about 4 hours ago at a time. Okay, so you have to use pen and pencil. Why a pencil? Because they don't run out of ink. You have to use them and an old-fashioned mechanical flight calculator, a whiz wheel. All you pilots out there, you know what I'm talking about. We're talking about the whiz wheel. You have to use that because it's low tech. It will never fail. Glasses, you could break them. You must carry 2 sets. It's law. You have to carry 2 sets because you could break these. So you just put another pair on. Okay. All these things you have to have prepared even before you jump in the plane. Okay. So it's not like you see in the movies, but actually, I quite like the flow of that. It relaxes me. It's good. Once you get up there, when you're just straight and level, it's not a lot to do. It's only the twisty turny bits, the taking off, the learning, you're aviating, you're navigating, you're communicating, often all at the same time. That's why you land afterwards, quite often fall asleep because you're pretty tired. There's a lot going on. The more you do it, the easier it gets. But what is your flow? What do you find easy? Do you love that kind of thing? Do you love planning? Do you like editing, like Amanda loves editing? Or do you like the orating, like I've done probably too much for in the last few minutes? What is it you like doing? What do you like doing, Amanda?
Oh, so many things. I like being able to come on and speak, but I really enjoy just like putting on comfy clothes and like working on my computer. That's one of my favorite things. But I think even when I was in university, like I loved the research part and like getting into learning and to really learning. But then it was like producing that final piece sometimes was the like annoying part. But then you feel so happy when it's like all put together and like coherent paper, right? To when you're writing papers for university. And then I just like I fell in love with writing, like, and I hadn't written in a long time, and then I was kind of trying to brainstorm all of the different things that I could do while I'm off, and starting back up on my blog and stuff again because I kind of left it for the last 8 months, and I started writing again last night. So I was like, yay, like I'm getting back into that flow of writing and drawing and creating and really like getting grounded in what it is that I want to see happen for the world, and just like give back as much as possible. Like I really love to give back when I can. And I think that's something that is valuable, right? Because you said, Grant, like one of the things that you were talking about earlier was how you offered to help someone, and then they in turn, because you weren't asking for anything in return, they came back and were like, can I like give you these things or like connect
Yeah.
you with the person, because like you were so generous with your time and offering to help without expecting anything in return. And I think that's sometimes something that's really we forget is so valuable, right?
We do forget it's that human connection. And that's
Mm.
actually what I actually ended up putting in the magazine article recently is it's the human thing where people don't take time. Everything's so transactional in this day in life. You know, everything's so transactional. But it shouldn't be. It's getting to know people. It's the relationships that makes the difference. You know, it really is taking that time to be with people, get to know them, because that's where the magic is. The magic's inside of people and getting to know them. You know, I was coaching a lady yesterday. And she's in the Middle East. She's not from the Middle East, but she lives in the Middle East. And she was there and looking at her life and what's really going on behind us. You'd never know it. You meet them, you have no idea on the surface what's going on in people's lives. Just like you who's listening, people don't know what's going on in your life. They don't know. But everybody's got a story to tell. Everybody's got a great story, and everybody's got greatness inside of them. And my job really is to reach in and find that. And one of the easiest ways is to find a path of least resistance. That's why I wanted to find it here today. So I guess if people want to know how to find it, one way would be to think, what makes you happy? What work, seemingly called work, do you do that doesn't feel like work? Yeah, people pay you for it and pay you relatively well, but it doesn't feel like work. Hours feel like minutes. You feel refreshed, not exhausted, and you just can't wait to do more. And you have a spring in your step. What is that thing? So if you're out there now, I would invite everybody to write that down, record it into something. If you're driving, please don't do that, operate machinery. Just park it in your head and later on write it down. What's that thing you love doing? The thing that puts a smile on your face, makes you feel good. It's a feeling. What is that thing that takes no effort whatsoever? Momsa, what about you? What do you love doing? What's the thing that takes no effort for you to do and it's hard for different other people? What is it?
I just like love listening to people and telling stories.
You like that? You love listening to people telling stories. That's your superpower.
Yeah, I love listening to people telling me their stories, their life struggles in life, because I learn from it as well. So I think that's how I was raised. I was raised by a teacher, by the way, Amanda. My dad is a teacher. So, you know, you teachers, you like to sit down with children and explain step by step about life and stuff. My father was like that, and his parents were like that. So, my grandparents used to sit down with me, like they would just explain me stories. And now I love listening to people's stories. I love music as well. And I love dancing, connecting with my own body. I like to know what's going on in people's mind, in my mind as well. Yeah,
Good.
so I love that. So if any job that I do is connected to helping someone. If I can help someone and get the results that they need in life, find that solution, for me, that is a bonus in everything that I do. So, yeah, that's why I always tell people off, because there are some coaches, what they do is they do it for work. To them, it's work. But for me, I don't do this for work. I do it because I've gone through struggles in my life, and I know that if there were people that stepped into my life to direct me to the right direction and helping me, and I know if it wasn't for those people stepping up, I would not be here where I am today. So I like to add value that way, just to give someone something, a life. I like giving.
You like busy? Yeah, you do. You do keep yourself busy, don't you? You like to be busy.
Yeah, even with my children as well. When I'm doing my homework, they're doing their homework. So that makes my life very, very easy. And granted, sometimes it does edit my work. He goes like sometimes I message him like 2 a.m. is a work. And I'm a work as well. I'm like, can you edit this, Grant? He'll be like, sure. Or sometimes he will just moan a little bit.
Yeah, I'm normally okay after that. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll moan a little bit, and I'm like, okay, let him come down.
But we get the answers. And I was really
Yeah,
impressed because you've recently, yeah, you've achieved something pretty great academically, haven't you, recently?
yeah. I'm finishing my other course this month, actually, end of the month, if I do well.
It's amazing what you've just done. Do you want to tell everybody about that very quickly?
Wow, my degree.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I finished my degree, bachelor degree, and I've got another one in psychology counseling, and I'm doing my master's as well.
At the same time.
Yeah, I'm halfway through my master's. And I'm doing a different course than the one that I'm finishing end of this month. So yeah. And Eunice just sent me some information with something. I'm gonna have a look at it because when I do work, I like reading. So I don't like reading for free. I like reading and then get qualifications out of it. And I like doing some research as well. I'm a teacher's child, so my dad is a teacher. So Amanda, you have to be, you'll see Ellie's going to be like you. She's just gonna be interested in education, like because she inherits your spirit. Is it your spirit? Yeah. So it means that she's just gonna be wanting to educate herself over and over.
Yeah, she's very different than me. She's very artistic. She might end up doing something with her art, but
I
don't know.
I
I
tested
don't
it.
know that I would let her be a teacher, to tell you the honest
It's
truth.
education as well. It's education. Being an artist is even greater. Great. Okay, guys. I think we're finished now, aren't we?
I need
Well, I was just going to come to the point of what to do if we can, just super quickly for people. So, I mean, essentially, so if you find what works in your flow, do it. If you can't do that, what's in flow now, then quite simply make a plan. Make a plan how you can do those things. Even if it's when you're off work, when you're off school, when you're off college, whatever you're doing, if you can find a little bit of time to do things that keeps you in flow, it helps to address the balance. Okay, a little bit, and make a plan to work the things that are more in your flow, because you will excel further doing those things. If you excel further doing those things, you will make more money doing them. Okay, because you'll go further than other people can because it's effortless for you, or requires less effort than other things for other people. So you'll be better. Never chase things because they're great at making money and they're against your flow, because you will ultimately fail. You'll never do it. You'll be stressed. You can become ill, and things won't work out well. Never a great strategy. It seems it up front because you get attracted by the money. But if it's not your flow, trust me, I've tried it. It very rarely works out. Much easier. Let yourself off the hook. Do the things that keep you in flow. There's a path of least resistance. You become magnetic. You become great. Success and opportunities come to you. You feel like you've done nothing. You feel energized, and you get more money. It's the easiest way to go and do it. That's what I'd like to say in conclusion.
I really like that. I think you're absolutely right with what it is. If you are not in your flow, it's going to be a really hard path and you're going to be really unhappy. So find something that you really love to do and do more of that.
Cool. Robson?
Design the life that you want as a non-negotiable. That's all I leave you guys. Don't negotiate with people. Just be who you're meant to be and just get on with it. No excuse. The path to least resistance is Grant's topic, guys. I feel they're Kero and Grant are challenging us. They come
doing
up with
what?
this. You're challenging us.
Challenging you with the topics.
Yeah.
There we go. Pushing the boundaries.
Yeah. Go to the website, guys. If you want to sign up for coaching, please do go to the website. When we come here at Nkosi Talk Shows, we just say a little bit. So if you want a paid coaching, please do sign up. We're all different coaches, different path, different qualifications, different values, different beliefs. So whoever you relate to, please do go and sign up. And if you're looking for love as well, please do sign up. And we have two groups at Nkosi Talk Shows, Unique Billionaire Mindset and Nkosi Talk Shows. Please join the groups and be part of the family. God bless, and we'll see you soon. And put Amanda in prayers. They are going on strike.
Watch the replay, and we'll even drop